welcome back to Bookstahuda. I'm Sandy, and today I will be doing sort of a catch-up on what I've been doing since I haven't filmed anything in like a month or two. An update on everything that I've been doing since then, what I've been reading, watching, etc. First, of course, as people do, I've been watching a lot of TV, taking sort of an intellectual reboot time for myself after forcing myself to read a lot of things that I didn't care about, wasn't really interested in, but it was part of my degree. And now that it's over, I'm glad I've done it. I'm glad I've read these things, and I want to do a video about that soon, but that's not the point of this one, so moving on. So what I've been watching, a lot of stuff on Hulu, because I finally got a subscription to that, and so I've torn through almost all of Community that's on there. I love it, and Seinfeld is coming on it today, and I have like a Seinfeld party happening. Well, it's just me and one other person, but still. I've been rewatching one of my favorite animes from my past, which is called Paradise Kiss. If any of you have heard of it, the main character is Yukari. She becomes a model in the course of the show, and the main character that I love from that show is George. I named my first car after him. I had a blue Toyota Tercel. I do miss that car very much, but Paradise Kiss has been a lot of fun to get back into watching. Something else I've been doing a lot of is going to the library, which has happened mostly because I'm too broke to keep buying all the books that I want to buy now, so I've been renting things instead. The other thing I want to talk about is that tag that I made, that video that I did a while ago where I was like, these are the things I'm going to read right after I graduate. That was very ambitious and very, those are books I want to read, but it sort of just made it feel like homework. You know, as soon as someone tells you you have to read something, you're sort of like, but there's these other things that I want to read. And so that's immediately what happened to me. So I finished one of them, and I do want to read the rest of the books on that list, but I've decided not to constrict myself to that, because the point of not being in school anymore is that I can read whatever that frick I want when I want, so I will read those books when I feel inspired to read them, not because I made a list of 10 things that I need to read right away. So what have I read recently? We have a stack here, and a lot of these books I did read. I borrowed them from the library, so I don't have them anymore, but, you know, I can still talk about them. Paper Towns by John Green. I was participating in Essie Button's bookshelf for this one. I had wanted to read it anyway because a lot of my friends, well, one friend really likes John Green. I have to say I like this one more than I like To Fault in Our Stars. I am not as part of the John Green hype. I do enjoy the writing. I laugh out loud a lot of places. It just doesn't grab me the way that some books do. So I do enjoy John Green, and I would like to read the rest of his books. Probably the next one I want to read is Looking for Alaska, and I will let you know about that. Next, this is not the actual book. That one is in my car because I'm planning to give it away just to conserve space. This one I'm also probably going to give away because I got through half of it and I'm just not really... Maybe I'll keep it if I ever decide I want to finish it, but it is I will cover up the actual title so you can pretend it's Julia and Julia, or Julie and Julia, the book on which the Nora Ephron movie of the same name was titled. Let's see if that sentence makes any sense. This is Julia Child's book, My Life in France, which I am on page 214 of. I read this book back when the movie came out, and I just am not motivated to read it right now. I may finish this sometime, but I doubt it. But Julie and Julia I really enjoyed. It was really funny. I really enjoy her writing style, and I don't know that I'll actually read the next book that she wrote, which was about butchering things. I don't know, that book, I did skip the little bit about lobsters, so we will see. I read 2 books from the library, Landline by Rainbow Rowell, which I really enjoyed. I read it in about a day. That seems to be, that's the 3rd book of hers that I've read now. First I read Fangirl, which is my favorite still. Then I read Attachments, which I really liked. And then I read Landline by a babbling brook. Actually, it was very nice and calming, and it was a really nice palate cleanser. I cannot wait for Carry On to come out. So, Oh, and then the other book from the library that I read was Very Good Lives by J.K. Rowling, the one that is a adaptation or printing of her speech that she gave to a graduating class of Harvard students, I think. I read it at a really good point to read it right after I'd graduated, and I'm still feeling pretty lost because I have no idea what I'm going to do. The one thing I did finish off of the After Grad Attack list is Dragons of Dwarven Depths, The Lost Chronicles Volume 1 by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, Dragonlance book. This fits in between the other two trilogies, which I have read, and I love this series. This book was kind of slow. They're setting up a lot of good stuff, I can tell, and I have the other two books in this trilogy. I'm not going to jump into them right away because I want to read a lot of other things, but I was way more into these books when I was a teenager. Now that my life is a lot more stable, I'm not as needing of a place to escape. And this universe is where I really love escaping to this universe, but I might wait until I'm in another... Well, not that I'm like, yes, please, more dark times come to me. Life inevitably takes you up and down, so the next time I'm in a downswing, I'll probably go for the next one. Also finished from the list of books that I've been, reading for a long time. This book I started before grad school this summer when I was in London, and I actually bought this book in London, which is why it's smaller than the American versions of the paperbacks. This is Cassandra Clare's Book 5 of the Mortal Instruments series, City of Lost Souls. Gosh, these books, I love them so much. They're the epitome, the zenith, the top of young adult fiction for me. They kind of bridge the... Well, I mean, the writing style is still pretty young adult, but a lot of the themes are adult. A lot of the characters just feel very real. They're well developed. They're well created. She is a master, and I am now in the middle of the final book of the series, City of Heavenly Fire. I take the cover off because I want to keep it nice. I really adore these books, and I'm kind of dragging my feet. I don't want this series to be over because I know this book is going to be a really sad, emotional ending. I mean, I don't know what happens, but it's a Cassandra Clare book. It's going to have an emotional, sad ending. So I'm taking my time with it. I need to finish it on a day when I am, I have nothing to do but sit and read this so I can just cry, like I did at the end of the Infernal Devices trilogy. Now, what I am currently reading. First, City of Heavenly Fire, which I just showed you, but now I put it back up on my shelf. What I'm most actively reading is a big disappointment to me. I hate to say it. If there are any young adult people out there that really, really love this series, I'm sorry. I really wanted to love this series, and I think me even 2 years ago would have loved this series, maybe, before I started grad school. I really wanted to like this book. I went in with high expectations. I actually bought the Kindle version because it was on sale for like $3 or something, and that's how I started reading it, which I don't do very well reading Kindle books. I do not retain the information as well. The book that I'm disappointed in but forcing myself to get through is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. With the Kindle issue, I went and rented the physical copy from the library. It's not a very pretty cover, but that is not why I have anything against it. I just don't find it to be entertaining. I find it, like, reading it, I'm pretty sure that I could have read like 4 books this week if I wasn't forcing myself through this. I mean, I'm this far, and I feel like I owe it to myself to finish it. But it's just not grabbing me. I don't find any of the characters interesting. I'm not a fan, to put it nicely. But I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it. Something else I've borrowed from the library that I'm reading, which is a new step for me. It's called Poems on the Underground, the Illustrated Edition, edited by Gerard Benson, Judith Chernock, and Cicely Herbert. There are many editions of this. I have the illustrated one from... Oh, listen to that library crinkle. Love that. This one is from 1992. Basically, it's a collection of poems that these people, including a poetry society, got put up on the underground in London, well, in the UK, and, you know, it was a lot of contemporary work, a lot of older work. Some of the poems I've read, you know, maybe like 30 of the poems out of here. Just, I feel like reading some poetry, which is weird, because I'm not usually a person who reads poetry, but I've been enjoying seeing ones that I've read for my degree before, and some new ones too. And it's really nice to read some poetry without having to really work at reading it. Like, when you read poetry for a degree, you have to dissect it and see how the poet wrote it and what they put into it. And now that sort of happens on its own in my head because I've been doing it so much, but it's nice not to have to do it. This book I've been working on for a while, also from the library. Oh. I don't know where it went. That's not good. Anyway, it is the second book in the Raven Boys books by Maggie Stiefvater, or Stiefvater, something like that, called Dream Thieves, or Dream Thief, I don't know. That's a kind of similar thing with Thrones of Glass, except I enjoy it more. I like the characters more than I like the story. I really like Ronan and his pet chainsaw bird. His pet raven named Chainsaw. One book that I had read most of for school, now I'm sort of reading it if I feel like it, opening it up and picking a chapter, which each chapter is an essay written by Zadie Smith. This is the weird large print edition, Changing My Mind Occasional Essays, and I have read about 65% of it, so I figured I'm close enough I might as well finish it. And I really enjoy Zadie Smith's writing voice when she is speaking as herself, because she's obviously very intelligent and she's got a really great sense of humor. So these little blue guys are the ones I have yet to read, so I'm working my way through it. And right now I'm in the one about Kafka, which it's really weird reading essays about authors I have not read. I have not read any Kafka, so it's sort of like, I bet Zadie Smith's right about that. You know, she's usually right about things, she's probably right about it. My favorite one thus far was her essay about Middlemarch, because we all know I love George Eliot very much. So, when I finish this, I will let you know. Last thing I'm reading, and this is also an occasional thing, like, do I feel like reading some of this? Sure. Because I like having memoirs throwing around in the back of my head now. That's a genre I only got into in about the last year and a half, and I really enjoy it. This was recommended to me by my friend Kylie, Medievalist on Twitter, and guest star of my video coming up soon on Sensitive Skin Hooray, my beauty channel. This is Bitter is the New Black by Jen Lancaster. I enjoy her humor. I'm not very far into it, but I do love acerbic, acidic, caustic humor. Her subtitle to this is Confessions of a Condescending, Egomaniacal, Self-Centered Smartass, or Why You Should Never Carry a Prada Bag to the Unemployment Office. So, that's what I've been reading recently, watching recently. I applaud you for sticking around through this rather rambly video. I'm going to be filming a few more things today, and I hope to have a video up every couple days for the next while. Thank you for sticking around. Hello to new people. Books to Huda!